Hello, property nomads. Hope you're well. Welcome to my new favorite group, and it should be your new favorite group as well. It is the Global Climate Intelligence Group, in brackets, CLINTEL, C-L-I-N-T-E-L. As you can see from the video on Zero Hedge, I'll go through this article. Why is this my new favorite group? Well, over 1,600 scientists who are part of this group have signed a no climate emergency declaration. Now, this is great news because the world is getting beaten up at the moment for numerous reasons. The guise of climate change and climate emergencies and all this nonsense is just another stick that you and I are getting beaten with at the moment. It's the new fear it's the new fear tactic. It's the new fear technique. It's climate this, climate that, bad, 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 and therefore we must all sacrifice ourselves. Drive around in electric vehicles, which are worse for the environment because of the cost of making them, the environmental cost of making them, and we all must go dancing around the maypole and be happy and merry all together, etc., etc., etc. And we must all do this under the guise of climate change and the climate emergency. But big but. CLINTEL, genius, a bunch of international scientists, they've joined the declaration dismissing the existence of a climate crisis and insisting that carbon dioxide is beneficial to the earth. I like these guys already. They're talking sense. They're talking the truth. Let's read on. They quite clearly say there is no climate emergency. Fantastic. Well, that's nice and simple. And it said that through its World Climate Declaration, which was made public in August. They've gone to say climate science should be less political, while climate policies should be more scientific. Absolutely, totally agree with this. Why do I totally agree with this? Number one, I like being a contrarian. Number two, it goes back to what we said at the start of the video, that what's happening is that someone says climate crisis, everyone else says how high, how much, what do we need to do? Oh my God, we're all going to die. We've got to go and sort this out right now. This is being politicized. Absolutely. We've seen this recently in London, where Boris Johnson resigned a while ago. So his seat, which I believe was Uxbridge area, that was up for grabs. Now, Labour have been doing relatively okay in recent polls and that sort of stuff, and they were expected to get the seat. So it's going to go from Conservative to Labour. But what happened, because of all this ultra low emission zone expansion, that basically curtailed the Labour candidate's challenge, and the Conservative Party ended up retaining that seat, much to a lot of people's surprise. And most people, most voters, cited the ultra low emission zone charges and expansion as the main reason why they decided to stick with Conservative rather than voting the Labour Party for that particular constituency. So that's interesting. That's very, very interesting, and people should take note of that moving forwards. Climate policies should be more scientific. Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more with that, because when you listen to the non-mainstream media narrative and you listen to a lot of scientists, I forget the guy's name that we've mentioned a couple of times before on the channel, they will come out and they will tell you that, hang on a minute, yeah, the climate change is either not happening or, yeah, it's going up a little bit, but it's not an emergency, it's not a crisis. You even get people like Brian Cox, world famous, saying that basically the Earth's heating up, which is just part of a natural system. This is where we're at. This is where we are. It is what it is. So the article, or they continue to say, the declaration, they continue to say, therefore, it is no surprise that we are now experiencing a period of warming. This is after pointing out that the Earth has a varied climate for as long as it's existed. We've had cold spots, we've had warm phases. Apparently, the think of the Little Ice Age only ended as recently as 1850. Therefore, it's no surprise that we're now experiencing a period of warming. Voila, it sounds like it's perfectly normal. Warming is happening far slower than predicted by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. So basically, we'll go back to what we said at the start. Climate change, climate crisis, climate emergency, people are ramming it down your throats, providing you with probably a bunch of either false information or exacerbated information. All the while, the really cool heads, pun intentional, are sat behind going, hang on a minute, yep, there's a little bit of warming. We're not going to deny that. It is happening, but hang on a minute. We've got to look at the fact that the Earth's been around for a long time. We've only been tracking weather and climate since, 1880s? So we're working off 140, 150 years of data. The Earth's been around a lot longer than that. We've had things called, ice ages. And you read stories about the River Thames in London freezing over. And there was a time, I think, in the late 17th century, where there was a 3-month period or so where the average temperature was about -3. So you do read things like this. And of course, the more we construct, the more we build, then that just means that the more that we're adding fuel to the fire. They go on to dismiss the narrative of global warming being linked to increased natural disasters like hurricanes, floods, and droughts, stressing that there is no statistical evidence to support these claims, and basically say there is no climate emergency, therefore there is no cause for panic and alarm. We strongly oppose the harmful and unrealistic net zero CO2 policy proposed for 2050. Go for adaptation instead of mitigation. Adaptation works, whatever the causes are. We could go on and on and on. The article is quite a long one. Basically, in a nutshell, I like these guys. These guys are absolutely fantastic. Good CLINTEL, thank you. Because they're actually bringing the truth to the party. They really, really are. When you're contrarian, when you are yin to everyone's yang, you've got to be thinking in a completely different way. And we've seen it since late 2019 with pandemics and how people responded. And I read somewhere that there could be a new variant out soon, that we might have more lockdowns by the end of the year. That's a different story, a different podcast. Point being that what you and I are being told, or what the mainstream media is telling the masses, is getting people very agitated because they're starting to believe in that narrative. Propaganda, basically. Propaganda's been around for thousands of years. It will continue to be around moving forwards. We are being told, or the masses are being told, one thing by mainstream media, when actually what's happening is completely different. There's really nothing to panic about. There's really nothing to worry about. Ignore the BS. Stop having it rammed down your throat. And that's why we do these videos, so we can share this information to say to you, hang on a minute, we know your eyes are open, but actually for the greater good of society, for the greater good of the world, we need to share this video as much as possible and all the videos that we produce. And we can do that with your help, with this information, spreading it out to people, saying, hang on a minute, there's really nothing to worry about here. We're probably just going through a regular warming cycle that the Earth has. So all of that being said, CLINTEL are my new favorite group. Love them to bits. That PDF document, by the way, is a very, very good read if you get the time. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. As usual, please like the, I was going to say podcast, we're on YouTube, but yeah, feel free to go and subscribe to the podcast, leave us a review of the podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, also like and subscribe to the channel using that bell notification thing as well. We'll continue to produce content. Good luck dealing with mainstream media and all the climate warriors out there. See you in the next video.